Hey guys, Bucket Pez coming to you again with thing I did ages ago, which was back when Boojins were just like being released or something, I think it was. I did a how to side video for Boojins. Didn't really get a lot of comments on there, but I noticed I got a couple of views. So I figured it may as well do another one for another deck, which is actually going to be coming out soon. Now I am sticking by my rule of always picking out 15 cards. Now, that is going to be incredibly hard at some point because not every deck you can really side 15 cards for. But I'll try and find cards which can be substitutes for it, as well as not only just helping out. So, Madolche. We've all seen Angeli. We all know what Angeli does. We all know it's overpriced at the moment, which is bullshit. I would never pay that much for a fucking Angeli. But we all know it can be very troublesome. Now, maybe not so much tier 1, but I think it's going to have a competitive edge right now. And Angeli is definitely one of those cards which gives it a competitive edge. Now, a lot of people complain about this deck on Dueling Network. Like, every time I use this deck on Dueling Network in the OCG, everyone's like, oh, you're you fucking Madolche player and stuff like that. Now, a lot of the time when I go into OCG, I actually do go into matches. Not so much, only because I can't be bothered to play matches. Matches take quite a long time sometimes, and I just generally don't have that time most of the time. Most of the time, I already know what my deck is doing, blah 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 blah. So I figured if everyone's going to complain about this deck, I've been rambling on now for a minute and a half, why not just show people how to side against it? So I'm going to go into the first card, Skill Drain. Skill Drain is probably the biggest thing you could side for this deck because it absolutely destroys the deck. Now, decks that would be probably more keen to side Skill Drain are most likely Dark Worlds and Dragon Rulers. If you're running Malefics, you're probably going to main deck that shit, but still. If you can side deck Skill Drain, you can obviously main it. I don't know why you would want to main it, but some people choose not to. Some Dragon Ruler players choose not to main the Skill Drain because they don't want the Skill Drain for the mirror match. They prefer to side the Skill Drain up against everything else, but when I went to Regionals, I only went up against one mirror match, so I was glad I had the Skill Drains. Now, the next card. Deck Devastation Virus. I have always sided this against Madolches because I was always a big Dark World and Evil Swarm fanatic, and Madolches obviously destroyed Evil Swarm unless you obviously had the Effect Veilers, the Fiendish Chains, and the Vanity's Emptiness. But if you didn't have them, they destroyed them, they ran over them just because of the factor of Tiramisu as boss. Now, Deck's Devastation literally destroys the whole deck except for one card. And that single card, my friend, is Madolche Messengelato. Now, this card isn't exactly the biggest card in the deck. It doesn't do anything by itself. It requires to be special summoned, and also, when it's special summoned, you can add a Madolche spell or trap, but the only way you can actually resolve that effect is if there's a face-up Beast Madolche monster. This is the highest attacking monster in a Madolche deck. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Vanity's Emptiness. Vanity's Emptiness is probably the biggest side cards you could side against this deck, or even main deck it. Now, Dragon Ruler players are maining Vanity's Emptiness only because once they get the Felground out, why the fuck should they give a fuck about special summoning? They don't want you to get over Felground as much as you might not be able to. They just want to protect that shit. So, some people main it, some people don't. But for people who don't main this card, but are siding it, this can really help against the Madolche match because obviously the whole deck is special summoning. It's just Mindfru to Angeli to Hoot Cake to Messengelato, overlay Mindfru onto the Hoot Cake, detach for fucking Leviair, bringing the Angeli back, and then overlaying that for Blood. You see what I mean. They special summon at least like 7 or 5 times in a turn. So taking that away from them really fucks them up. Now, I'm going to put 2 in the same category, Fiendish Chain and Breakthrough Skill. They're kind of the same thing, yada yada yada, except Breakthrough Skill is kind of better in its own way. But Fiendish Chain has a whole continuous thing, but the only bad side about Fiendish Chain is obviously they can chain MST, and that really sucks because most Madolche players are probably going to be maining triple MST. But if you're not maining Fiendish Chain, you can always just put it in your side deck just for this deck if it really is that bad of a matchup for you. But Breakthrough Skill is probably the better option in my opinion, just because you can avoid the whole chaining MST bollocks. Macrocosmos. This is a weird one. Some people may not agree with this, but it's purely because of the factor of these guys have to be destroyed by their opponent's card effects and sent to the grave. If they're not sent to the grave, they don't go back to the deck, so they go banished. So, the more you know. Imperial Iron Wall, it literally just stops the Hoot Cake effect. And this is where I was running low on ideas. And I really was just like, I'm fucking running out of ideas now how to side for this deck. So I figured, fuck it, Imperial Iron Wall, just cause Hoot Cake is a major part of the deck. And it's what really gets the play going. Summon Limit. Now this is one of the budget ones you could use, because obviously let's look at Vanity's Emptiness pricing, it's pretty fucking high, and now let's look at this pricing, it is not high whatsoever. Summon Limit. Neither player can special summon more than 2 times per turn. Negate all negated summons count towards this limit. Negated card effects that would summon do not. So pretty much this restricts the whole play. They can only go My Food to Angeli, that's it. Or My Food to Mesogelato, that's it. I'm pretty sure decks nowadays only rely on special summon to be able to get over that. And being a Dragon Ruler player and a Dark World player, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can get over that. Dark Worlds can get over it, Dragon Rulers can get over it, even Evil Swarms can get over it. So, Summon Limit is actually pretty good. Soul Drain is good just because of Angeli effect. And it also, I think, negates the, yeah, it does negate the effect to put it back to the deck, I think. Yeah. So that helps out quite a bit. But I wouldn't really want to side this card for that, because I'd see it as kind of like I'd prefer something else. So what if they're going back to the deck? Sometimes they don't need them to. The only reason they want them to go back to the deck is purely so, you know, shit happens. Like, they get their ticket effect or something like that. But when they can just go Tiramisu and they can just return them, and if they have Chateau, it goes back to the hand, so it really doesn't help. D-Fissure, the same theory as Macrocosmos. These guys have to be destroyed and sent to the graveyard. There is no graveyard for monsters. Forbidden Chalice, kind of like the Pseudo Veiler, and it's a really low price actually, so you can get these for cheap. You don't really need highest rarity for side deck cards, or at least that's my theory. If I'm making a side deck, I don't go for the highest rarity, because fuck that shit. That's for the main deck. Necro Valley, the same theory with, trying to think now, Hoot Cake, and, also it's like, you know, you just generally can't special summon, it's just, they can't like Soul Charge or anything like that, but I don't know why you'd want to side this, but as you can see, I was really running out of ideas, and I was kind of like, if you really want to side Necro Valley, you can. But now we get onto the stuff which I knew would obviously help. Effect Veilers, obviously that's going to help out a bunch. This will just put their play to a halt. Like, they go Mind Through, Veiler. And they're like, oh, okay, go. Maxi. Maxi, if you drop Maxi on the Mind Fu, or if you chain it to the summon, or the effect which activates, you can, so they activate it, you chain it, you're going to get a draw. And it would not surprise me if they were kind of like, fuck, I need to be able to do a decent play in order to even get anywhere with this hand. So they'll either go all out, or they'll just go, okay, I'm just going to go Mesogelato and add a Chateau to my hand and play the Chateau. You would have still got a draw for that, but still, sometimes people may take you up on the Maxi challenge, but it doesn't really matter because you get a huge plus. And finally, Fossil Diner. Everyone knows this card. It's like the Pseudo Vanity's Emptiness, or whatever. Well, actually, that's a Pseudo Vanity's Emptiness, but this is still an incredibly good card. Fossil Diner is amazing, I think, in the format, just purely because with Gear Guys running around, with Mermails running around, with fucking Dragon Rulers, and everything like that running around, this guy is just like, sup. And that's what he's like. So yeah, that's my 15 cards that you can side against Madolches. Some of them I would say don't bother. Like, Imperial Iron Wall, yeah, it stops Hoot Cake, but what the fuck is the point? Necro Valley, it stops Hoot Cake, but what the fuck is the point when you have all these other side cards which can do so much? I swear I just heard someone at my door. That was weird. Moving on. My house is haunted, apparently. So yeah, moving on. I've completely lost where I was. Yeah, there's a couple in here which I wouldn't really side. Like, I wouldn't want to side the Imperial Iron Walls. Soul Drain is a maybe, but Necro Valley, I don't know where you'd find room in the side deck for this. But if you can, fair enough. But that's it for the how to side video, guys. Please leave a like, comment, and please subscribe. And if you have, like, genuine, like, things that you would side for this deck, please just write in the comments. But there's a couple of things I really wouldn't side. Like, Eradicator, I think, is just pointless for this deck. Like, siding Eradicator really doesn't do much. As much as you're hitting, like, Ticket and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not very reliant on the whole spells or anything like that, in my opinion. I always thought an MST would be a lot better just for the Chateau. And it's not like, you know, they rely on their spells for their consistency. They just really need their plays. But moving on, please leave your comments and stuff like that, and I'll get back to you with another how to side video. I'm actually just going to upload a bunch today because I figured I may as well just do a whole series on this and just expand like the whole how to side and actually have a playlist for it, just so people can be like, oh, this guy's talking about how to side. But anyway, guys, Black and Pest, please leave a like, comment, and please subscribe and get back to some more how to sides.